Okay.
There's 4 rows of long tables, like 2 on one side, 2 on the other, kind of.
Okay.
Not really a carpet, just there's a bare patch. 4 rows of long tables, like 2 on one side, 2 on the other, kind of.
Okay.
But not really. There's just pretty much all the tables are filled. Bare patch. 4 rows of long tables, like 2 on one side, 2 on the other. As you walk right in, there is some space next to 2 other people that are clearly as uncomfortable and as you are.
Okay. I'll go find a spot by them, maybe.
Yeah, you're still there, Mike, right?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. Just making sure. I wasn't sure if that was you or Donnie. I can't really see. Okay. All right. Yeah. So you sit down next to actually an incredibly attractive young woman with long flowing locks of very dark brown hair, and she has very kind of almost like coffee colored skin.
Mm-hmm.
She's definitely, she looks similar to many of the Flanish people, but also somewhat, somewhat exotic. Hey, Flash, he said it works fine now.
So I go sit down by her if there's an open spot then.
Yeah. Okay. You do, and you notice Edda that this character sits down next to you. The one who there appeared to be a bit of a story. Whoever he was traveling with was clapped in the hands.
Okay.
He's a bit of a guest and possibly somewhat of a prisoner.
Yes, it's not leaving.
Tony, is there a map of Greyhawk? Do you have that set up?
Yes.
Can you quickly switch to that?
You bet.
I as soon as he sits down, I want to look at him, and I offer my hand, like kind of like this or whatever, and I say, I am Lady Lucretia of a house non from Realm Ward.
Use all my courtly manners, and is that a house I've ever heard of?
It's impossible. I just made it up.
It's probably not then.
Right. So no. No, you haven't. In fact, let's see. Hang on a second. Realm Ward is technically, I think, from Nyrond. No, is that right?
Correct.
Yeah. So you have been to Nyrond. Technically, the county of Ernst was a vassal state of Nyrond at some point.
Mm-hmm.
They've not declared. The Countess has not declared herself queen or anything like that, but she doesn't consider herself to be a vassal of Nyrond. Yeah. And the capital of Nyrond is Rome. So yeah, I mean, if you so Scotty, the way that I play this is that everybody has a passive perception.
Mm-hmm.
And what that score means is that if there's something to notice that has a difficult class that's below that, you automatically notice it. Okay?
Uh-huh.
That's generally for just simple perception things.
Okay.
Some people, like Sean's character, has a passive investigation. What that means is like noticing very small details, like whether or not the lock on a door might be trapped. He has an opportunity because of a particular feat he has that allows him to possibly notice it without even having to do a search.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that. Okay. Nobody has what I would call a passive insight roll, meaning a score that would mean without even having to try, you'd be able to tell people's intentions. So if you're interested in understanding whether or not you're really getting the truth out of somebody, that would be an insight roll. Everybody can make one, whether it is trained or not. So if you don't have a proficiency in it, it's just going to be basically die 20 plus your wisdom modifier. But I suspect that a pretty lady, you would never question her intentions.
No, I wasn't questioning her intentions. I was trying to question if I knew the house that she was from or what I know about it to try to impress her with my own courtly knowledge, or
Well, you could you could try to deceive. You definitely have never heard of it.
Okay, well, I'm since I never heard of it. I'm going on something that's probably real. I'm just not familiar with an Iron.
Sure. By the way, seduction is also a deception roll.
Okay.
Trying to be something you're not, or whatever.
But sort of, I sort of tell her about myself and that I am a well, maybe. Let me see. Hold on.
Most
Start
court
talking about
entries
myself and where I'm from.
beyond borders, by the way. So your particular troubles likely wouldn't have been as noticeable outside. Like chances are very low that somebody outside of the county of Ernst would know much about your troubles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, I just start talking to her about, yes, I'm the third son of a baron from the county of Ernst, and making small talk, but sort of, building myself up.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, she acts extremely impressed, and she's like, "Oh wow," And your name's Cormac. Is that what's your name? Is it Cormac?
Cormac.
Okay. She says, "Oh, Cormac, do you see that very fancy honey mead over there? Can you get us 2 glasses?"
Yeah.
Joel, you're sitting on the other side of Edda from all this, and you can't help but over these interactions. You've kind of seen her at work before, and you've been around her long enough that she doesn't even try to hide it. She just says these completely outrageous things. But you can't help but smile a bit at Cormac's obvious interest.
Well, she's a good-looking female. I understand that.
I also took the silver tongue feat from the Unearthed Arcana, which I have to say is probably one of my favorite names for any feat I've ever taken before.
Okay.
Well, my conversation is pass the bread. Where's the meat? Pass it over here. And I eat. I don't care about the people. I'm on chow.
Okay. All right. So you're eating and having some conversation over there. Iona, you're coming back up from the dungeons when you notice out of the corner of your eye a hand signal that says "talk alone." You're walking back with Rin at the moment. You hear me, Sean?
Sorry, muted mic.
Oh, okay.
You blipped right at hand signal.
Yeah, it's just like a hand signal comes out of a dark alcove, and you immediately know the hand, who it is, and you just it's him, and he's like,
"That's who I'm looking for."
Yeah, he did it just knowing that you would spot it and not your friend. Like
I go over and lean against the wall, looking away from him, so he's in the alcove next to me, and I look over at Rin, and I say, "Hey, I really think that orc wasn't telling us any tales. I think we could actually turn him and make use of him on our side." He did help save those people and brought them all the way here, and turned his back on his own crew. to come here, who came here raiding and pillaging, but I really think he could be made use of to learn the tactics against us. Flash is looking at me like I know he's looking at me like, what the hell, you know? I don't think we need to. I think I got all the truth that we needed to get. I think his saying that he would swear fealty to the Baron was truthful. Right. I kind of look into the alcove to see if there's any instructions.
Oh, you knew what he was trying to say was he wants to talk to you. So ditch your friend.
Oh, I thought you were saying you wanted me to talk so you could hear. I'm like, all right. Why don't you go in and eat, and I'll be in just a minute. I gotta go pee.
You actually know, Rin, that you need to get back and give her the court proceedings anyway. So you figure you probably could just head on back to your, back to the tower.
So I head into the alcove.
Okay. Ray says, first, just quietly. Oh, Sean, he says, report.
I tell him that everything I just said, that I believe he's trustworthy and that he could be turned and made use of against the orcs, and that he said he would swear fealty to the Baron, and I think he could be useful.
Okay. He's not going to swear fealty. The Baron would never accept his call it. It escapes me. The Baron would not accept his word if he was to turn in such a fashion. I doubt. He's not without foot. Strangely, he says, but don't worry about that. I'll take care of it.
It doesn't necessarily have to be publicly either.
Right. He says, have you learned anything else? Any other insights, young one?
Yeah, the little halfling's an experienced thief and is definitely up to more than what he's been told that he's here for.
Interesting. Thank you.
Probably be best off to just kill him.
You're so certain that his uses are at an end.
No, I didn't say he couldn't be useful. I just don't think he could be trusted.
There are other ways to ensure service than simple trust, young one.
Should cut out his tongue.
He pats you on the shoulder. He says,
Cranial bone.
But I have something else for you.
I'm yours.
The captain of the guard asked a man named Halloran to look into some troubles that face the city right now. He says, you probably have been walking the streets. You may have noticed that there appears to be disease that's working its way through the town or through the city.
Okay.
This Halloran has disappeared. His squire, perhaps, is that Jalmala from the Lions of Alatur.
Okay.
It would be quite embarrassing for Fell if Halloran was not recovered. He's been gone for over a day now. He's not checked in.
And where did he go?
Well,
I mean, the city is a large place, and investigating a sickness could be difficult if I don't know where to start looking.
Here.
Yep.
He says, I think it was in the docks district. He goes, the man must stand out. Surely he's been seen there. He says, I'm a bit concerned, Iona. He says, I believe at this point that this trouble that Halloran was investigating is something that requires a singular focus. I need you on this. But I don't think that you're going to be able to do this alone.
Well, Rin will always give me a hand, and I'm figuring Jala will probably help me out if I let him know his mentor is in trouble.
Who are you mentioning, Sean? You said Ribble?
Flash, Rin.
Oh, Rin, yeah. He says, I'm afraid you're not going to be able to use your typical crew. Unfortunately, I have them doing other things right now. If you think that your friend Rin can assist, fine. He says, I believe that once you describe to young Jalmala that his master is missing, he will be highly motivated. Make sure that discretion is followed, because we can't let his disappearance get out and embarrass the board.
Understood. What about the orc?
Before you get too far, he says, come back and check with me. Send me a message when you've assembled a crew. He says, I may have more information for you.
All right. I go to catch up with Rin.
Okay. All right. So you head there. All right, Rin, you get back to the tower. At the base of the tower is actually a shop, right? That's the apothecary. You come walking in the door, and here, where did I keep track of this stuff? I think it was under Janina. You come walking in the door, and old Wallach, the apothecary, as his title is out of the place. But you stop cold because standing across the counter from him is somebody that you had not expected to see in Redspan. You see Enwin Nerwenye, the girl you were sweet on back in Radagast City. The elven girl. Here, I'll well, you'll have an opportunity to now if you'd like. Put it in the chat here. All right, yeah. So her name is Enwin. She looks around as you come in. She goes, like, look the other direction. Walla looks to you, and the moment that you walk in the door and you look at him and you look to her, you see Wallach looks at you, and you just tell, like, you are part of the conversation here somehow, like, something just a little odd. And you try to duck back out the door, but she's like, oh, wait, Rin? What? Where are you going, Rin?
At the place, at the thing.
She says, I happened to have to come to Redspan to research, and well, I knew you came back here, so I thought I'd look you up. Well, she says it's not supposed to be widely known here. I actually caught a ride on a Rene skiff to get over here. There's no like blockade or anything like that. Not under your own volition, but yeah, sure. Bit of a jarring experience. So she just looks at you like, okay. She says, "Oh," she goes, "I am to walk the walls with the watch to get a sense of the forces outside and to report back if, in fact, there really are banners of Ayuz the Old." You never have. No. You've never been outside the walls. I mean, you teleported directly from Radagast City into Redspan, and Redspan was evidently already, the doors were closed. They only opened a week ago to let in 8,000 refugees, and then again, maybe yesterday, to let in another 120 from the small village. That was it. And you were there neither time that the gates were opened. Well, she says the Union, yes. Anyway, she says, I just thought I'd stop in. I knew that I knew that you were here, in Niron's tower. So I thought I'd stop by. What did I say, Niron? Yeah, nice little tower. Sorry. Okay. She walks past you and kind of, stops for a moment, looks at you. You just kind of. She gets to the door and she looks around. And she's, "I'll see you around, I hope." Okay. Her brow furrows a bit. Okay. Oh, okay. She's like, "Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'd best be going then. All right." And she heads out. So, Donnie, are you there again?
Yep, I'm back up and running.
Okay. It must be like 20 minutes. And you hear a little bit of scuffling feet or whatever, and the cell next to you again. You hear that voice, a little closer, like maybe right on the other side of the stone wall. He goes, "Wow, I never thought an open hand slap would hurt so much." He goes, "You really are strong."
Get closer, I'll show you.
Look. I'm sorry that I said all those things. I was really just trying to get you to, break off a chip of rock so that, I could get us out of here. Seriously. I've heard what they've said. You're going to be executed.
Maybe not. If they try, maybe I'll get a shot at one of them.
Do you really? Look, he goes, "Isn't it better off if they never see you coming? All you got to do is just pass over that little chip of stone. I promise you, I will get us out of here. They don't call me Walter Quickfingers for nothing.
Walter Quick Fingers. I laugh at that.
Walder, not Walter. Walder.
Right, Walter. And I keep laughing.
Really popular with the ladies.
Wally the Fingers.
You hear that deep voice from the other side of him. He goes, "You'd best not listen to the halfling. He'll only get you into trouble."
He's fun to listen to. Come closer.
I think I'll keep my distance at this point. Look, I just. Is there anything I can do to convince you to just pass me over that little chip of stone?
Sure. Reach through and get it.
Well, look. Okay, I might have a big mouth, but I'm not an idiot. Well, maybe I'm a bit of an idiot. I mean, I did piss you off.
Yep.
Anything I can say to convince you to pass it over, aside from you ripping my arm off and beating me with the bloody stump of it?
Ooh, ripping your arm off. Yes, you give me your arm, I will pass it off. Good idea.
He settles down against the wall again. You hear someone clear their throat from the back of your cell, Donnie, or Rajic.
Slowly turn to see who's there, grabbing my little chunk of rock for my weapon.
Yeah, it's basically like improvised dagger, at best.
Yep.
You see like a guy's nose and chin and a short beard, and he's short even for a human. Maybe 5'4", 5'3". I mean, you've seen dwarves that are not quite that tall, but getting close.
Dude, get your own room.
But he's cloaked head to foot, or head to toe. He says in a very quiet voice, I find it interesting that a half-orc, and not only that, but a frost barbarian, would risk his life for people who don't even know him, and they would likely spit on you if they had the opportunity to. What motivates you to do that?
There was no honor in what they were wanting to do. Why raid a town of children?
I can appreciate that.
Rape the horses and right off on the...
Says, I'd like to think that we could help each other.
I mean, like I helped Wally over here?
He says, you see a bit of a smile under the shadow of the hood, and he says, I think that the halfling got what he deserved. But
close.
If I let you out, what would you do with that freedom?
It's a good question. I will be no longer welcome where I come from.
You'd have he says you'd have not only a long journey back to the lands of the Fruit Sea, but you'd have to make it through a significant war band. And they'd find it very interesting if you walked out the gates, not in chains. So I think you're right.
I would have to find a new way.
What is your name?
Changing screen, stand by. Rajek, the bare shoulders.
He looks you over. He goes, they're definitely broad enough. So tell me, Rajek, bare shoulders, if I let you out and made this problem go away, could I depend upon a service from you?
I would be willing to trade my freedom for some service.
It was good. Would you be willing to shake on it?
Would you? Put out.
Your hand comes out from under his cloak, and he steps forward on. He's very light-footed. He steps forward and extends a hand.
Frickin' rogues.
Nope.
I reach out and I shake.
Okay. He has an incredibly strong grip, nothing that you can't deal with, but you're rather shocked at the fact that he's as small as he is and has such a strong grip. He shakes. You see he kind of pulls the hood back far enough where you can see his eyes, and he looks in yours and he goes, I believe you. Come with me. He walks to the front of the cell, pulls a key out, and lets himself out. He kind of slips, opens the lock, and he then, as he steps out, he kind of motions for you to leave with it.
Before I leave, I take a little shard of stone, judge the halfling's arm length, and put it 2 foot out or more out of his reach. And say, hey.
You just kind of set it on the ground, just out of his reach.
About 5 foot, away from the wall. Hey, here you go. Good luck, Wally.
He doesn't say anything as you walk past, but you notice with some satisfaction that the left side of his face has got a big ass purple bruise on it. Okay, and you follow this man out of the dungeon. Okay, so Ren, you're just about ready to head up out of the apothecary after you go over the day's work with Wallach. When the door opens and you see Iona step in. A little breathless. You're not accustomed to running, Iona. You don't really have the stamina for it. I don't know. I don't think you have a high con.
No.
Yeah. So you're a little out of
I
breath.
know. Doing that walking against the wind shit. I stick my head in, and I'm like, good. We need to go. No, come on, we gotta go. We got work to do. When he looks like all down, like I'm like adventure. Come on, you pussy. This is what you want all the time. Let's go.
And you head back to the keep to catch up with.
We head back to the dinner.
Okay. All right. So,
was she looking for me? Well, I know she wasn't looking for you. Well, was she shopping for your mom or what?
Generally, you don't talk about anything related. Oh, sure. Yeah. Sure. So,
Right. She doesn't really want to see the library. Dude, I know you'd really go show her the library.
so, Jalmala, you're sitting there, just digging into your food, and the guy who really this he's probably in his 50s, maybe 60s even, but still kind of a hale and hearty. The one who's known as Hemshan the Poet seems to carry a lot of respect by everybody. He actually is kind of walking around, shaking hands, talking to people, and you look up as his hand comes down on your shoulder, and he says, "I just want to speak with you a moment, young Jalmala."
Sit and speak.
Yeah, he slips in. Somebody makes a little space, and he slides in there, and he just takes a minute to say, I hope I did the story justice of what occurred at Nevon Nevnend."
Well, you left out the part that Ida played.
He looks around and settles his gaze on the young woman next to you, and he says, "Ah, is that the River Rose?"
Are you asking me?
Yes, can hear you, Flash. Yeah, okay, yes. Yeah, Mike. Yeah, he says, "Is that the River Rose?"
I stopped eating long enough to look around, and do I recognize her?
Oh, well, that's Edda. Edda is the River Rose.
I know, but do I recognize her in disguise?
Yeah, she's been sitting next to you. I mean, you know her so well, it's impossible to.
Oh, okay. Yup. Take another spoon of beans.
He says, interesting. He says, so what part did she play, if I might ask?
Stop chewing long enough to say she helped enrage the orcs and make them accept my challenge.
Interesting. Well, thank you, young man. He says, I will maybe speak to her and ensure that her part is told in this tale as well.
That would work.
Please, don't let me keep you. Return to your meal.
I cut off a piece of cheese.
So you focus on the food.
I'm focused on the food. I'm a peasant.
So Cormac has stepped away for kind of skipping around in time, but he stepped away for a moment to get you something to drink. And there's a spot across the table from you that has just opened up as somebody stepped away to maybe get a plate refill or leave for the night or whatever. And Hemshan the Poet sits down directly across from you. Edda, you probably couldn't help but overhear conversation occurring. He says, "So, I understand that you were with Jalmala at the Lawgiver."
Well, at this point in time, would Hemshaw even know that it's me? Or I guess I probably didn't try to disguise myself as.
I mean, it's like you were one of many students sitting in a lecture hall. Would he notice?
So he probably know my face, not necessarily who exactly I am.
Maybe.
Okay. I say, I just, I kind of pretend like I blush or whatever a little bit, and then I just kind of nod. Yes, I was.
You were?
Yes, I was with Jalmala.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was asking a different question. Okay. He tells me that
is Cormac near me?
No.
Okay, good.
I'm still tracking down Mead.
Well, right. He doesn't. You don't want to get your stories, your wires crossed.
Right. The honey mead doesn't even exist, so he's just like, well, I gotta find this mead.
Oh, I gotta find the mead. She eats the mead. Right. So he says, so you back up what Jalmala, what he says Jalmala said about you, and that you helped to enrage the enemy chieftain and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I let him know.
With spoon in hand, I turn around and say, "Yep, she's great at throwing insults."
Interesting. He says, I will ensure that River Rose is mentioned in further retellings of this tale.
I'm like, probably eating on like something small. Yes, but only mention me as the River Rose, please.
What else would I mention you by? He says.
Nothing else.
Okay. That's good. He grows quiet for a moment. You see Cormac across the hall, and he holds up 2 glasses triumphantly. And he starts to work his way back over, although it's slow going because there's just people all over the place. Finally, Hemshan looks back at you again. This time, it's like super, super intense. And so you got this. Yeah, we can kind of hear in the back. Yeah, okay, all right. He's just like he's boring a hole right into you, Edda, and he says, "I have an interesting tale for you as well, Rose." He says, about 2 years ago, the sacred texts of Alatur were taken from the College of Lore, Nevon Nent. They've been missing ever since. I've made it my life's mission to recover them. What's also interesting to me is about that same time, a young woman. She had a very promising career as a bard. In fact, she was due to be presented with her diploma, maybe only a month from that point. I find it interesting that those things occurred at the same time.
My tone immediately changes, and I said, "Yes, it is quite interesting."
Well,
I kind of his name's Hemshaw, right?
Hemshaw.
Does he have like a title? Something that only somebody who would go or who goes there would know.
Well, I mean, does Aristotle have a different title? No, he's just known as Aristotle. This is Hemshaw.
Oh, okay. So I address him directly as Hemshaw, and I say, "Where does that or where do you intend to go with that with that statement or with that story?"
Jal's paying attention as he's shoving in the beans.
And he says, "I intend to find those texts and to bring whomever was responsible for the theft to justice, of course." Anyway, he says, "I don't mean to trouble you further. Very good to talk to you, Rose. I'm sure we'll be seeing more of each other."
I give him a very, very, very low bow.
He gets up and walks away.
I immediately go over to Jal and I say,
"You're sitting right next to him."
I lean over to him and I smile and I say, "We may have a problem."
Yeah, you say around a mouthful of beans.
Mm-hmm.
About that time, Cormac, you come over and do your best not to slosh any mead on the fair lady.
Ah, Gorsmack, thank you for bringing this beautiful cup of mead.
What?
I'm sorry, did I mispronounce your name? How do you say your name again?
Cormac.
Oh yes, Cormac. Thank you. I start I sip on the wine.
Okay, so Iona, you and Rin work your way back to the Lord's Keep, and you come plowing into the main hall. pushing past people. You see off to the side, you and Ren see off to the side, 3 figures definitely standing out like a sore thumb. Yes, can still hear Flash background. That is a fantastic microphone, Flash.
3 rooms away. I go in looking for the guy who's obviously, who we're looking for. He's the guy completely clad in armor, and that we saw earlier.
Oh yeah. He looks like he definitely isn't necessarily comfortable in the room, and he's making up for it by ensuring nobody can talk to him because he never doesn't. He always has a mouthful of something. He's just shoveling food in like crazy. Yeah, by the way, sitting next to him, you see a young exotic beauty that was kind of standing nearby him earlier. And then on the other side of her, from Jalmala, is the guy that evidently, by the way, Iona, that the halfling, the black man, and this guy, the one called Cormac Del Bortham, all came in through a secret tunnel, which nobody knew of, which probably pissed off the captain of the guard more than anything. Oh, let's all join in.
He's applauding your DM skills.
That's right. All right, yeah. So, you think that probably pissed off the captain of the guard, which probably contributed to a couple people getting clapped in irons. But anyway, yeah. So the guy basically saying, "Hey, we got problems in the dim forest and the Fostwood," is sitting right next to him.
So at this point, I believe that Scotty is a thief, underhanded kind of individual, just because he's associating with one. So I have Flash sit. When we come in, I'm like, why don't you sit next to the young noble guy, and then I'll slide in next to Jamal there, and we're gonna have to get Jamal there to go with us because we need him to go with us. And then I'll brief you guys on what we're doing. So distract him and the woman, and then I'll talk to the fighter.
Look over at the rose and point at her cup of mead. You going to drink that?
I roll my eyes and I just kind of slowly push it towards him.
Thank you.
That's a little disappointing to you, Cormac. You were really hoping that she'd, partake and,
If it's got the date rape drug in there, you're in big trouble.
I lean over to Cormac. If he falls asleep, I will kill you.
Cormac, you notice that this decidedly elvish-looking fellow sits down on the other side of you, like really close.
Yo.
He seems rather uncomfortable. I mean, you have no. What's your charisma, Flash? Is that your dump stat?
You must have all kinds of screens, Flash. I can't believe how high you're looking up the wall. Jesus.
His monitor now is a 60-inch, 4K TV. So he's got to look all over to read shit.
Holy smoke!
You upgraded, huh?
Oh, okay, right. Well, you're trying to be conversational or act natural. While you sit down next to him, Iona, you slide in next to on the other side of Jalmala at the bench.
Halloran. Yeah, and ended up here somehow. What brings you to the palace? I know a way out.
I know a way out that got me arrested.
And Cormac, you think that they're watching that entryway rather closely now.
Oh, they know where it's at now?
Oh yeah. When you came out into the city, you were literally in one of the guard towers.
Wow.
The base of the guard tower. You came up surrounded by about 6 guards, who were very surprised.
Actually, we do. It was told in court.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty good with trees, not so much in buildings. Yeah, sometimes.
I slide in next to Mike, but I roll my stealth not necessarily to be unseen, but just to be unnotable.
Okay. All right. Yeah. When you finally decide to catch his attention, you're a bit startled, Jal, that the fellow next to you, even you're like, well, when did he get here?
Huh? You eat yet?
I'm not hungry.
The beans are good.
Pity, the beans are terrific.
I speak quietly so that mostly so that Mike is the only one that can hear me over the dinner, over the conversation in the room. And I'm like, I've been told that your mentor is missing.
Halloran?
Yes. He was asked to look at.
What do you mean?
Yeah, Jal, the wheels.
I stop eating. eating.
The wheels kind of click into place when you think about it. You're like, well, Halloran should have received. He should have been the guy to receive the honors. More so than you. He should have been the one addressing the Lord, but you did in his stead. And now you're like, that is interesting.
Mike, look, I don't want to talk about this here, but we need to get out of here so we can talk about this.
Well, lead on.
So
I reach over and cut a big slice of cheese off the wedge.
I'm like, no, I'm not going to leave with you. You go out the door. I'll meet you outside later in a little bit.
Okay.
And and while I'm sitting
Which
there, because
door?
now I know I've talked and I broke motion that people are looking, and if I see Scotty looking, I do some thieves' cant, mostly to flash that. All right, we're gonna go outside now, and I want to see if Scotty picks up on
it. Scotty, Cormac doesn't know thieves' cant.
No.
Okay, you do notice that he slipped in and began talking to Edda's companion, this Jamala, who, evidently, earned a Medal of Valor.
The Great Warrior.
Yeah, Great Warrior, you understand. He slipped in to talk to him, and then, I don't know, do you get up and walk out then, Joel?
After he exits, as I said, I cut a piece of cheese off the wheel and wrap it up in the napkin and put it in the pouch and follow him.
Okay.
Give him a couple minutes so that it doesn't look like I'm following him, which is probably the time it takes me to wrap my cheese up.
Okay.
One more sip of mead, and then I leave the tent. By your leave, lady, I say to Edda.
I probably don't disappear too well into the crowd then.
Yeah. Cormac, you do happen to notice that the fellow that was talking to the big warrior, he his motions seemed a little odd to you, like he's trying to be nonchalant about stepping away, and it kind of makes you think there's something. But what it could be, you don't know.
What's Iona look like?
What does who look like?
Sean's guy.
I don't know. Describe him.
Nondescript as you can think of.
Brown hair, brown eyes. I don't know. Average height.
Average height, average weight, average colored clothing. Poorer most clothing in here. Nothing really catches your eye.
I think dressed like that catches eye itself. That he's dressed so averagely in the hall of a king.
Yeah, I mean, he could easily. He'd be more. He looks like he'd be more comfortable just based on his attire, mixing with the servants than sitting at the bench.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't seem to act like any servant you've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually makes his excuse with the lady Lucretia. I think is that what he said her name was?
Yes.
Lacrimoria, Lucretia, whatever. And but he says, I think he just says, I got to step out, my lady. You see that she seems very interested in that and kind of looks after him as he leaves the table.
Intrigue.
Well, you've seen your fair share of it, although I don't know. What are your social skills like?
I don't know. Would that be like insider perception?
Yeah, I was just looking. You actually have an insight, so you're pretty good with this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You can make a roll if you'd like.
All right, let's see if I can.
You just click on insight. You'll see that. Yeah, just like that. Okay. You're more interested in what she's doing than what the big warrior is doing. The other guy.
I'm still entranced by her rack.
Pretty much. She actually says, "Can you excuse me a moment?" I'm going to play his character since he stepped out.
Okay.
And she gets up and heads out of the hall, kind of in the same direction that the warrior guy went. Now you're kind of like, huh.
I'm just going to go follow that ass for a while.
Follow the guy?
No, the chick. I'm just going to watch her ass.
Okay. Sorry. I got you.
Steady, lad.
All right.
Flash also gets up and, he's also going to be getting up and leaving, pretty much Cormac sitting at the table by himself.
Well, Cormac said he decided to follow Edda. So you guys are all kind of headed out. All right, you come back around, Iona, and you see John Mala just standing in the entry in front of the hall, just kind of standing as something only a soldier possibly. But unfortunately, the young woman is also near, and this foreigner from supposedly the county of Ernst is also nearby her, kind of watching her. and this, my friends, is why the 18+ game.
Yeah. So I swing by that alcove just to make sure before I leave that the boss doesn't have any more information for me.
You know where he tends to haunt, and you actually see him in that alcove with the orc.
So I roll into the alcove.
Excellent timing. He says, "You'll be taking him with you."
I put out my hand. I'm like, my big friend, I see the word I put in for you helped.
I appreciate that. Any way you can get me my stuff back?
Oh, these? The man says as he kind of pulls out from underneath his cloak your items.
He
Man's
pulled
no
out
good without his gear.
He pulled out my great axe from under his cloak.
Yep, he
That's
did.
impressive.
Bag of holding.
Impressive.
As he hands them to you, he looks at you one time. He says,
Ooh.
he says, "We're extending a lot of trust, Bare Shoulders." He looks over to you, Iona, and he says, "He'll be assisting you on your mission."
Just
I
smile.
giggle. I'm like, yeah, because he's discreet.
Just smile big. Crack some knuckles.
Let's take 5-minute break, guys.
Sure.
Whatever, and we'll be right
Give me
back.
time.
Good.
Gives Flash some more time to do what he was doing earlier.
Just as Joe gets back. 5-minute break. All right.
So far, so good. You just about got everybody together.
Well, I thought about just kind of kicking it right into the adventure, but this seemed kind of a fun bit of role play to get us here.
That is the point of what we're doing. Your brother playing the hot character. That's going to be interesting.
And not just a hot character, like, Flash played Divya, but Divya was always like, the girl who was unaware of how attractive she was. Whereas Edda is the character who knows exactly how attractive she is and uses it at every opportunity.
I'm back.
All
Mikey,
right.
how are you?
Let me take a look here. We have a couple people who are, what's the word I would describe them? A couple of characters that are simple folk.
That's a nice way of putting it.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just a guy.
I'm just curious. Are you trying to play Jal as a fairly simple?
Oh yeah.
The accidental hero.
I mean, he has good table manners. His mother would have taken him by the ear if he didn't. But he's no noble. And not real the brightest bulb in the lamp either.
Is it cold in the house, Scotty?
I was gonna say. I mean,
It is, yeah.
First you had the the hoodie, and then I saw a blanket going, and now you got the hat too.
It is.
You keep the thermostat at like a balmy 50 degrees, or what?
It's set at 60 now, but it's not actually 60 in this part of the house because the thermostat's on the other side. And I've got these giant fucking windows which are wonderful to look through, but they don't hold any temperature at all. The cold just comes right through them.
Well, you are out there in Windville too, out there by the forest.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, Tony, how cold? Because this morning when I went to work, it was -20 without the wind chill.
Really? Wow.
Holy shit.
Yeah, down here. Yeah, I think I went out there to start my car at 7:30, and I was like, I didn't have my gloves on me because I'm an idiot, and I was just like,
Lost your audio there.
oh I said my hands were hurting because I like within 10 seconds of touching anything, it was miserable.
Today wasn't bad. I looked at the temperature; it was like -8. But when we went outside, it must have been warmer than that. We stopped at the UPS store to drop off a package, and I mean, it wasn't bad at all. I would say it was like it was clearly below freezing, but it wasn't like as bad as it was the other day. It got down to -35.
It was colder in my office today than it was in our dorm room.
That's crazy because
it was 53 degrees in my office today.
God,
I was freezing my ass off.
I mean, our dorm room in the depth of summer was like a meat locker.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Trusty.
Oh yeah. We stole all
the air conditioning.
No. Well, originally it had no air conditioning.
Yep. And we used a fan to drag all the cold air into our room. and then we put what did we have? It was like a rolled up towel we taped to the bottom of the door.
Yep.
That basically tried to trap in all the cold air. Oh God, it was cold.
It was probably around 60 degrees in our room, and Lisa and Wendy's room upstairs was probably about 85.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh my God.
We brought in window units and set up on chairs. There was no AC. Buckets of water underneath of it. Built a cardboard shaft to the window.
All right. Well, I think we got everybody.
Somebody strangled Ayla.
Yes.
Yeah, put something in her
face.
Just smack the shit out of her.
Stuff a sock in her mouth.
There you go.
Use the cat.
All right, so Iona, you come out, and so much for your discreet meeting. You've got John Mala just kind of staring off into space. You've got the woman that has been trailing him. By the way, I don't know, you weren't in there when Hemshon kind of talked to them. But yeah, you've got this group of people that are not really in conversational distance, just kind of standing a bit apart from each other. And you look at this and you hear kind of this tisking sound from behind you. And you can tell that Ree is not impressed.
I just say I didn't call for all these people.
I should hope not.
But I think at this point I have them, whether I want them or not.
Well, he says, with this one, it gets about as indiscreet as... He goes, don't take him into the hall. In fact, you really should get out of the keep. You know the back ways.
Right.
And he's obviously talking about the half-orc.
Yeah, I say to Bare Shoulders, I'm like, wait over there by that tree, and I'll gather up the rest of this group and get us out of here.
Ree says, just take all of them. Get out of here.
That's what I'm gonna do. So I go over and I'm like I say to the great warrior, I'm like, you're not much for discreet, are you?
Discreet?
Yes, the whole point was a discreet meeting, not dragging out the entire...
Oh, sorry.
I'm like, gather your friends so we can get out of here. We're drawing attention.
Okay.
And
Turn around to Edda and...
Yeah, I think I would have been gathering this the entire time, being kind of like the master at speaking and picking up stuff. But yeah, I immediately just follow along with Jaw. And my whole purpose is to make Jaw feel better about himself because I really enjoy. So I'm just like, oh, thanks. Yeah, like for letting me know.
You also notice, Aona, that this foreigner happens to be nearby, seems to have taken a particular interest in the woman following Jalmala.
I do try to embarrass him at this moment, and I'm like, my lord, are you coming with the lady?
Yeah. I'm not done with her yet.
Oh, God, what a group.
It appears to be impossible to be embarrassed. It appears to be impervious to embarrassment.
All right, and so we get out of here, out of the keep.
Okay, where do you take this group?
We get out of the keep through, the side gate or whatever, and I head over to a pub I know in the area to talk.
Well, the closest thing to Castle right. The closest inn to Castle Redspan is it's called the King's Crown.
No. We got to go somewhere seedy.
Okay.
I'm not going into the
like,
King's anything.
Well, then you probably want to go to the Wink and Kiss, which is a bit of a jaunt down closer to the docks area.
That is exactly where we're headed. That's great.
All right.
I turn around to these three whenever I'm like, all right, so when we go in here, keep your hands to yourself and don't look too hard at anybody, but the beer's okay. Don't buy the whiskey.
Okay.
Okay, it takes you a little bit of time to get to the Wink and Kiss. You cross one major road, and you happen to notice that there's a group of soldiers marching toward the south gate. You think that you maybe hear some kind of commotion from beyond the gatehouse to the south.
That's not my concern.
All right, you cross over back into some alleyways, and probably 20 more minutes, and you're standing in front of the Wink and Kiss. As far as bars go, the Wink and Kiss is it's definitely one of the poorer inns in the city. It has old chairs, cracked tables. The watered down ale is probably the worst in the city. So you just gave some really advice, Sean. Maybe it was a joke. Pretty much everybody agrees the prices are also the cheapest, which is why it still gets custom. All the roads leading to the Wink and Kiss are really old, potholes. They're terrible. People throw their refuse out right into the road, so you got to dodge a lot of that. Lots of shadow cover, lots of alcoves and alleyways that you could easily hide in. There's not very many open shops along this stretch of road. You pass a lot of beggars and just refugees wandering the streets. But yeah, so you walk in. A lot of the windows are broken, boarded up, casting the room in more darkness than really ought to be the case even at this point in the evening. The chimney's probably not well cleaned because there's smoke from the fireplace drifting into the room that gives it a darker, dreary, greasier sort of appearance. When you were walking in, you also know the roof was covered in ash and filth. And the barmaids, there's like 2 of them here. They look pretty desperate. And Iona and Rin, you've called this place home many a lonely evening.
Excellent. I grab us a table and order us a pitcher of ale.
Okay, give me a moment.
Where everybody else may stop at the door a little bit, Flash and I wander in like, we live here. Because we do.
Okay.
So it's a second blanket and a sweatshirt and a stocking cap.
This is like a fucking high-tech heating pad. It's awesome. I forgot about it. Anka buys all the coolest shit.
All right. You guys walk in, and you see Rin Manila, who is the barmaid that you usually deal with. She sees you when you come in. She gives you a bit of a wink and a grin, and immediately loads up with your favorite brew.
Sweet. There's what, 6 of us? So yeah. I give her 6.
Oh, she says, "You looking for a more private place in the back?"
No, this table over here is fine.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's tables down here that could easily accommodate the group of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she you see up at the bar. There's what looks like maybe a couple of shop owners. There looks like a monk. There's a table off to the side that could easily handle 6. There's guardsmen sitting around that table, which is you know Iona to be a recent development. Normally they wouldn't come here, but the captain of the guard has mandated that his guys take their breaks in some of the worst bars just to help keep the peace. All right. Jalmala, you take the head of the table. It just feels right, so you go and sit down.
Got my back against the wall. I like that.
I sit in the corner.
I noticed that. I noticed. Okay, so yeah, you guys cluster around the table, and
I get the when I get everybody around and the drinks passed out, I explain that I've been asked to look into the disappearance of his. I point at Mike there. his disappearance, he's supposed to be looking into a sickness that's been spreading here in town, and has disappeared for the last day and a half. They want us to quietly look into his disappearance.
Jamal, you find it interesting that he says quietly.
What do you mean quietly?
I mean, quietly, we don't want to embarrass the Baron that someone in his city, as important as your mentor, has disappeared under his eye.
Okay. What's your plan?
Well, as the only thing I know is that his first point of interest was down here at the docks. I thought maybe you would know more about what happened.
I don't have a clue. I wish I could help you on that.
Well, where was he staying?
When the two of you came in at first, Halloran had enough coin to get the two of you rooms at the King's Crown Inn. You actually figured that when he wanted to meet someplace more discreet, that's where you'd go. Instead, you came to this place, which is larger than any inn you've been to in smaller towns. You never had an opportunity to go to a big inn at Nevon Nevnut. It was already under siege when you got there, within moments after you getting there. This is actually somewhat of a new experience. I mean, the people here are somewhat more like the peasants that you're used to dealing with around Calbit in the countryside. They just seem more desperate.
Desperate times. When was the last time I saw Halloran?
It matches what this character is telling you. It was yesterday. I've been kind of wondering where he was off to, but I mean, Halloran is a man. Hasn't always, filled you in on what he was doing. You'd just be like, go here, do this, wait for me, that sort of thing. So
Okay.
you've just been waiting for him, and you expected to be, you would still be waiting for him if you weren't called in to accept the medal, and on top of it, this guy telling you that he's now missing. Otherwise, you'd probably still be waiting at the King's Crown to come back.
Well, I haven't seen him. I don't know where he is. You apparently know more than I do.
So he didn't tell you anything about what he was doing when he left?
I don't think so. I've just been trying to help out and take care of things for him, and I'm really not privy to what he was about.
So, do you have access to his things?
He's what, in the next room, Tony?
Oh yeah. I mean, Halloran paid for both of your rooms, and everybody knew that you were with him, and everybody in the King's Crown Inn knows your story. I mean, it wasn't told by Hemshan the poet, but the minstrels there quickly learned of it, and have been telling the tale. So you're a bit famous at the King's Crown. I'm pretty sure if you wanted to get into Halloran's room, you'd be in trouble.
Okay, and I'll tell that to Rin. I think I can get access to his things without any problem.
Well, the only other option is to start looking around here at the docks to see if anybody's seen him. So that might be a good plan, is to go check out. I wish I'd have known that before we walked down here.
Well, we're already here anyway.
Actually, I call over the barmaid that I know.
Manila?
Yeah.
Okay, she comes over. Hey boys, what can I do for you? She drops down your two drinks. What can I get for the rest of the table? We have, hang on a second. Let's see here. Why did I away? She says, we have ale, wine, whiskey, and you're welcome to the meal of the day. Let me know what you want, and I'll tell you what the prices are, or we'll fetch it.
Ale.
Wine.
Pitcher.
A big ale.
I can do
And a
that.
meal. And a meal.
Okay. She comes back with a trencher for you, Magic, and a pitcher. Actually, she just puts 2 pitchers of ale on the table. Tells you that all told, it'll be 2 silver pieces for the table. She puts down a bunch of glasses too. And you said you wanted wine, right, Scotty?
Mm-hmm.
All right. She puts a really just kind of an earthenware cup down in front of you, full of red wine, and says that's 2 copper.
Okay.
I give her 3 silver pieces for the whole thing.
She, by the way, you would know that might draw attention to you.
For what?
Overpaying by that much.
What did I get? That I paid her too much?
Well, I mean, you know what? She takes it. She comes back with change.
Okay. So I give her a few of the coppers for tip.
Okay. All right. Okay. So you're eating. Well, Rajik is eating noisily, and you guys are all drinking around the table. Did you want anything else from Manila?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Actually, I leave all of the coppers on her tray, and I'm like, I need to know something. I'm like, there's a sickness down here in the docks.
You don't say, she says.
I'm sure you've heard it.
Her cheeks look a little flushed.
I'm like, where did it start?
She says, I don't know. Maybe those bloody Rene brought it with them off of a barge. She goes, everybody down here is under the weather.
I'm also looking for a guy, and I give his general description. Has he been in here?
Oh yeah. He was here yesterday.
And
she thinks on it a minute. You see, she looks back toward the kitchen area, like that entryway back there, like back.
Yeah.
Like back here, this area, and she thinks about it for a bit, and she goes, "It's going to cost you a bit more."
What's a bit more? I give her another silver.
Okay.
Come on. I look at her like, come on, that's more than you make in here all night.
She pockets all the change and the silver, and she hikes a thumb back, and she goes, Kulan is back there, private rooms. You'll want to talk to him. That's who that man spoke to.
Kulan. Who's Kulan?
Oh, you know who he is. Reuses him sometimes. When you work with anyone from the Dogs of War, that's who you work.
All right. So we know each other.
You have
minorly.
You have a professional acquaintance.
Right. I'm like.
You also know that he complicates things. It just seems to be what happens when he's in
Dogs of War complicate everything. Because that's what they do. I'm like, it's gonna look really bad if we all roll back there. Why don't I just take Mike with me? And that might not be the greatest plan either. But it is his mentor. I look at Mike, I'm like, was your boss of the same profession as you?
Oh, yes. He was my mentor.
All right.
I'll try and describe him to.
I'm like, we're gonna go back and meet a guy who's, well, he's an upend gang member. We need information from him, but we don't want to get into a ruckus with him.
Okay.
My boss would be displeased.
Okay. I understand that.
So
you're going to do the talking, right?
Right, but I may need you to answer some questions about him.
Okay. I'll do my best. Is that the way to the loo back there?
Something like that.
Well, I need to go.
All right, so we head back here.
Or you really have to go.
Yeah. By the way, there's the loo right there.
Yeah, and you know that back in here, this area are the private rooms.
Okay.
All right. Okay, in what form? Okay.
You want me to just open my side bag? He's a weasel.
No, it's in fact it's very dimly. And you guys, of course, took the table closest to the fireplace, so it's actually fairly smoky. Not enough that it bothers your breathing, but yeah. Okay, so the group of you are sitting around the table, and Jalmala and Iona kind of squeeze out from around the table and head around the corner. Okay, and nobody notices your weasel. Flash.
So I wait for Mike to use the toilet.
Right. Okay, so you go in and use the loo and come out, and now what?
And then we go back here and look for him.
Okay, but you don't have to look
there he is.
Very long. Come around the corner, and sure enough, you see a man. Jal, you've never seen this guy. He's interesting in that he's got kind of a coppery tone to his skin. It doesn't, like, you don't think that it's so much like he's weather beaten. It's more like it's just his natural skin tone, and he may not get a lot of sun. His hair is kind of longer, black, and somewhat lanky. He wears all black. He has like boiled leather, black dyed armor. You see he has black gloves. He has the gloves on. He hasn't taken them. And he's sitting at the table in the corner here, just at a table much larger than is necessary for a guy by himself, sipping something. And he must have heard you from around the corner, Jal, because as you guys round the corner, he's well aware of you. Doesn't say a word, though, as Iona, you slip into a chair at the table.
I lean against the doorpost.
The guy, Mike, the guy looks like he's somewhat indeterminate in age, maybe late 40s, 50s, somewhere in that range. He has like kind of a thin stubble on his face. One of the things you notice is that he has a scar running from his forehead all the way down to his chin, and it runs right across the eye. But it looks like it must have missed the eye because, it's not a blank socket or milky or anything.
Unless it's a glass eye.
Maybe.
That would be expensive.
Yeah, buddy.
But he's sitting at a table. You're able to see the hint of weaponry at his belt from within the cloak that he's got around his shoulders.
I keep my hands above the table.
Okay.
Just to,
His hands are in view.
I sit down. I'm like,
I don't know.
How are you?
He just kind of, doesn't say anything. But he's kind of a man of few words.
I'm like, I'm looking for a guy that I hear you may have talked to.
I talk to a lot of guys.
Well, I know that. So I give his name and describe him.
Guy like that definitely is noticeable down here.
Did you talk to him?
Came in asking some questions.
Can I ask what about?
When I do business with somebody, if I talk about that, he goes, I'm not going to be doing business very long.
This guy's missing.
What's he to you?
My boss wants me to find him.
He actually seems to consider that for me.
Any help you would give me would be favorable.
Who's he? He says, kind of just nods over to Jal.
His student.
He looks at him for a little bit longer, nods his head. He goes, yeah, I can see that. All right.
Nothing shady here.
All right. He goes, even so, information comes at a price, my friend.
Always does.
3 silver.
2. Jesus, what are you having, a gaggle of chicks over there tonight, or what? Is there a herd over there?
You freeze, Iona, because in that moment when you reach for your gold pouch, you are like, your heart races. You're like, somebody got the drop on. It's there, but it's been cut. There's nothing in it.
Between the table and here?
Yeah.
I didn't do it.
You don't have any coin on you.
I look at it and I'm like, I'll be a son of a bitch. Somebody robbed me between the table and here. I pull the strings out of my purse and throw them on the table. I look over at Palmer and I'm like, you have any coin on you?
I think so. And reach for my my purse.
Okay.
And how much do you need?
3 silver.
You just like pull it out in the open. You see that this Kulan fellow, he actually shows his a bit. He's kind of like, like you know that look that he gives. It's one when he feels like he's dealing with amateurs. Iona. All right. Yeah, your heart's kind of racing. Like, I mean, seriously, Iona, somebody just got the drop on you somewhere, like within the last 30 seconds or a minute or two, and you don't know what the hell happened.
There wasn't hardly anybody in the bar. That little weasel in the fucking hallway? No, there's some guy standing in the hallway. Or was. I'm gonna have to kill that son of a bitch.
Yeah, so finally you dig out a couple of silver out of, or what was it, 3? You dig 3 silver out of your pouch, Jal, and put it on the table. He just kind of puts his hand over it, makes it disappear, and he says,
okay.
Yeah, he was. Oh, but by the way, Sean, you have no money.
Yeah, I got that part.
Okay. He says, yeah, he actually came in last night. He was inquiring about the plague that seems to be hitting us. I didn't know much about that, but for some reason, he was asking where the waterworks was. So I told him.
Where the what was?
The waterworks.
So where the water supply for the city is?
Yes.
Well, that'd be a good way to get it into the whole city.
Right? And that was all he asked about.
That's the only information I was able to help him with.
That's not all he asked about.
The rest of it I didn't have answers to.
Yeah, but what did he ask?
He wanted to know what I knew about the plague. If I'd seen people, if I had a sense of where it originated. If I'd seen any suspicious activity. He laughs at that a little bit.
You are suspicious activity.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So where is this waterworks?
Well, you know where it is.
All right. I head back to the table. I look for this little weasel. As I get up, I'm already distracted, but I look back and I'm like, "Thank you." And I look for this bastard who possibly stole my fucking money.
Okay. All right. So where do you go?
I go out here and I look to see where he went because he was standing right there.
So Tinker, you head back to the table.
I look around and I see he's going off doing something else, so I stay with him.
Okay. All right.
Is there any sign of this person who was standing there?
Not at the moment. I mean, you're looking behind the bar. You see Zever, the barkeep. He's handing out drinks. You can see Batila, the kitchen scullion back here. That's about it.
Something wrong?
Yeah, some jackass stole my purse.
Immediately grab for mine.
It's still there.
He was standing right here, I say. I'm pretty sure it was the guy that was right here when we came back. I was waiting for you to go to the bathroom.
There was some kid out here.
Right.
We went and walked right by him.
Right.
You think he got your purse?
Yes. Pretty
That
sure.
Bastard.
Zever comes over here. Hey, what's going on, Iona?
There was some kid standing right here just a couple of minutes ago.
Oh, Midtime. Yeah.
Where is he?
You see, he looks around. He goes over, pokes his head in the kitchen, looks in the other storeroom. And he goes, I don't know.
Mitten, huh? I think he just stole my purse. Huh? Maybe I should hire him.
He frowns a bit and goes, the staff, the wait here, or the help here knows not to take anything from customers. He goes, that would surprise me. He goes, but if you have proof of it, he goes, I'll give that boy a drubbing.
If I find him, I think I'll find my proof of it. Is he downstairs?
Actually, that is a set of stairs heading up to the second floor.
He didn't go that way, did he?
Well, Palmer was standing there the whole time, so I don't know. Did he go upstairs?
Who are you asking?
Palmer.
That's what I'm saying. I'm standing right there. Did he go by me and go upstairs?
You didn't notice if he did.
Okay, I didn't see him.
And you're fairly perceptive.
I'm gonna find that kid. There isn't any other way out of here other than back past the bar or upstairs.
Well, I don't know. You want to go behind the bar yourself and go take a look? I mean, they pretty much, you're trusted customers. Pretty much cut off.
Okay. Sure.
All right. So Willem goes into the storeroom and sees that the window is open. Yep. You can tell that the window is open here.
He gone.
Yeah. He snakes out into the back alley behind the Wink and Kiss and sees nothing.
I don't have time for this right now, so I tell Zevver if you see him again, you tell him I'm looking for him.
Yeah.
And I'll get my gold back in his hide.
He chuckles to himself a bit. He goes, "I'll pass it along, kid."
All right, so I come back to the table.
Okay.
Yeah, because like I said, I'm homeless. Everything I own is on my person. He just stole my life savings. I'm like, look, apparently he was in here and was looking for how to get to the water supply for the city. Probably expecting that's where the tampering is coming from. So I think that's where we should head first.
Sounds reasonable.
Everybody
Do you know
got
the way?
any gear they may need to get? There might be a bit of trouble.
I carry my gear on me.
Well, so do I. But just check it.
Well, good to ask.
All right, so I tell them where it is, where we need to go.
Okay. So that's your next plan, is to head straight to the waterworks. It's after dark, and at this point, it wouldn't be necessarily open for business. I mean, you believe, Iona and Ren, that it's we're gonna stop here. You believe, Iona and Ren, that there probably should still be people manning the waterworks. It just might be a little hard to get their attention at this hour.
Who wants their attention?
Good point. All right, so Cormac, you're at the table. You're hearing all this stuff. I mean, are you just planning to go along with them?
Yeah, I'll see what's going on tonight.
Okay.
I've had a few cups of wine, and I'm,
Spoiling
feeling responsible.
Does he look? Yeah, he's feeling irresponsible. Cool. Okay.
All right. Well, we'll actually stop here. We'll pick up the next time. And we'll kick off right at the waterworks.
Sweet.
Cool.
Tuesday next week?
And then I got to murder myself a toddler.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
All righty.
Yeah, thanks, guys. That was fun.
See you next time.
All right.
Later.
Take care, guys.